Everything in your life begins with an intention. Every decision you have made, every path you have taken, and every result you have experienced started first as a thought inside your mind. This is a universal truth that many people fail to recognize, and because they fail to recognize it, they live life by accident instead of living life by design. They move without clarity, they speak without awareness, and they act without purpose. And then, when the results do not match their desires, they blame luck, they blame fate, they blame circumstances, but they never take the time to ask, what was the intention that guided me here? Intention is the invisible force behind every visible outcome. It is like the root of a tree. You do not see it, but it determines the strength of the trunk, the health of the branches, and the sweetness of the fruit. People are fascinated by the fruit. They look at someone's success and say, how did he do it? How did she achieve this? They think it is all about the strategies, the actions, the opportunities. But what they do not see is the root. They do not see the intention that was planted long before any result appeared. When I say intention creates reality, I do not mean this as a motivational slogan. I mean it as a fundamental principle of life. What you intend becomes what you experience. When you approach any action with hesitation, with doubt, with fear, then the energy of that intention will manifest in the outcome. You may take the same steps as someone else, but your result will not be the same because the energy behind the steps is different. Your intention is the compass that guides the direction of your actions. Without a clear intention, you can take 1,000 steps and still end up lost. Think about it before you take any action. There is always a moment of thought, a moment of choice. In that moment, you are shaping the reality that will follow. If your intention is weak, if it is filled with uncertainty, if it is poisoned by fear, then no matter what you do, the foundation of your action is unstable. But when your intention is strong, when it is pure, when it is filled with certainty and clarity, then every step you take carries power. People will feel it. Life will respond to it. The world around you will bend to that energy because it is unwavering. Imagine someone buying a lottery ticket. 10,000 people may do the same thing that day. To the outside observer, it looks identical. Each person picks a ticket. Each person pays money. Each person hopes to win. But there is a difference that cannot be seen with the eyes. One person buys that ticket with hesitation, thinking, it will never happen. People like me never win. Another person buys it with desperation, thinking, if I don't win, I am finished. And then there is one person who buys it with calm certainty, saying silently, this belongs to me. This is done. The ticket is the same. The action is the same. But the intention is completely different. And intention is what creates reality. Understand this: intention is not about luck. It is not about superstition. It is not about blind optimism. Intention is alignment. It is the alignment of your mind, your body, your emotions, and your actions in one direction. Most people never experience this alignment because they live in contradiction. They say one thing but believe another. They act in one way but feel another. They speak words of success but carry feelings of failure. And then they wonder why nothing changes. It is because the universe does not respond to what you say with your mouth. It responds to what you believe in your heart and what you embody with your actions. When you set an intention, you create a signal. That signal influences your thoughts. Your thoughts influence your feelings. Your feelings influence your actions. And your actions influence your reality. This is not magic. This is cause and effect. When your intention is to succeed and you truly believe it, you will act differently. You will speak differently. You will move differently. And because you move differently, the opportunities you attract will be different. That is why two people can start at the same point, take similar steps, and yet end up in completely different destinations. The difference is not in the steps. The difference is in the energy behind the steps. Ask yourself, what is my intention right now? When I wake up in the morning, do I rise with intention, or do I drift into the day without clarity? When I speak, do my words come from a place of purpose, or do they spill out carelessly? When I act, am I acting from fear, or am I acting from faith? Most people live reactively. They wait for life to push them in one direction or another. They let circumstances decide their mood, their decisions, their energy. They forget that intention is the steering wheel of life. If you do not hold it, you will crash into randomness. But there is another truth. Intention is a choice. You can choose your intention in every moment. You can choose to act with confidence even when fear is present. You can choose to speak with clarity even when the future is uncertain. You can choose to move with purpose even when the path ahead is unclear. Because intention is not about knowing every detail of the journey. It is about deciding the destination and aligning your being with it. When you do this, life begins to organize itself around your decision. People call it coincidence, luck, or destiny, but in reality, it is the natural outcome of aligned intention. The greatest tragedy is that most people do not understand this power. They speak words that destroy their own future. They say, I will try, but I doubt it will work. That is an intention. They say, I never have good luck. That is an intention. They say, people like me never succeed. That is an intention. And because intention creates reality, life gives them exactly what they declare. It is not punishment, it is simply alignment. Life reflects what you project. So what must you do? You must become aware of the intentions you are setting with your thoughts, your words, your actions. You must stop living on autopilot. You must stop allowing fear to dictate your energy. Instead, you must speak with power. You must act with conviction. You must think with clarity. And above all, you must believe that what you intend is possible, because belief is the soil in which intention grows. Without belief, intention is just a seed thrown on rock. It will never take root. But when belief is present, when faith is strong, then even the smallest seed of intention can grow into a tree that bears fruit for years to come. Every great achievement in history began as an intention. The tallest buildings, the fastest machines, the most groundbreaking discoveries, all of them were first invisible ideas in someone's mind. But what made them real was not the idea alone. It was the intention behind the idea. It was the decision to act, to persist, to believe even when others doubted. And you have the same power. The question is, how will you use it? Will you use it unconsciously, setting intentions of fear, doubt, and limitation? Or will you use it deliberately, setting intentions of courage, abundance, and purpose? Because in the end, the life you experience is not random. It is a reflection of your dominant intentions. If you want to change your reality, you must first change your intention. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Because every moment you live is a seed for the future. Speak wisely, think clearly, act deliberately. And remember, always intention creates reality. Faith over doubt is not just a phrase to inspire you for a moment. It is a principle that decides the direction of your life. Every human being faces uncertainty, and in those moments of uncertainty, you are always standing at a crossroads where two voices speak to you. One voice says, you can't do it. It's too risky. What if you fail? That is the voice of doubt. The other voice says, you are capable. You can figure it out. The path will open as you walk. That is the voice of faith. Every choice you make is a result of which voice you listen to, and the quality of your life depends on which voice becomes stronger inside you. Doubt is natural. It exists in all of us. It is a defense mechanism of the mind, trying to protect you from pain, from disappointment, from loss. But doubt is also the thief of dreams. Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. Because failure happens after you take action, but doubt stops you before you even start. Doubt convinces you that you are not ready, that you are not capable, that the timing is wrong, that the risk is too high. And so you do nothing, you wait, you hesitate, and time passes, opportunities pass, life passes, all because doubt whispered and you obeyed. Faith is the opposite energy. Faith does not mean you ignore reality. Faith does not mean you are blind to the challenges ahead. Faith means you choose to believe in possibility even when you cannot see the entire path. Faith means you trust that as long as you move forward, as long as you stay committed, the way will reveal itself. Faith is not about knowing every step. It is about knowing that you can take the next step, and then the next, and that in doing so, the destination will come closer. Think about this deeply. Every person who achieved something extraordinary faced moments of doubt. There has never been a champion, an inventor, a leader, or a creator who did not hear that voice saying, "What if you fail?" But they did not let that voice decide their actions. They chose faith over doubt. They chose to trust themselves. They chose to trust the process. They chose to move forward even when fear was present. That is what separates them from those who gave up before they began. When you say these words before making a decision, "I believe this will work. I believe I am capable. I believe it is possible," you are planting seeds of faith. And faith grows into courage, while doubt grows into paralysis. Which one do you want to cultivate in your life? Every time you repeat words of doubt, you water the weeds. Every time you speak words of faith, you water the flowers. It is that simple. The difference between success and failure often comes down to which garden you nurture inside your mind. When a person bought that lottery ticket and said those powerful words before doing it, those words were filled with faith, not doubt. They were not hoping in fear. They were not saying, "Maybe, but probably not." They were saying, "This is mine. It belongs to me. I accept it as reality before it happens." That is faith. It is the energy that makes things possible. Does this guarantee success every time? No. But without faith, success is almost impossible, because doubt weakens your energy. Doubt poisons your focus. Doubt makes you act without confidence, and confidence is what influences the world around you. Faith is not about arrogance. Faith is not about thinking nothing can go wrong. Faith is about strength of spirit. It is about saying, "Even if I fall, I will rise. Even if it takes longer, I will not give up. Even if the path changes, I will adapt." Faith makes you resilient, while doubt makes you fragile. The person of doubt breaks under pressure because they have no inner foundation. The person of faith can stand in the storm because they have an anchor inside them. Why is faith so powerful? Because faith creates movement, and movement creates momentum. When you move forward in faith, even small steps begin to open doors. You meet the right people. You discover new resources. You learn lessons you could never learn by standing still. Doubt keeps you frozen, and when you are frozen, nothing happens. You pray for change, you hope for change, but change never comes because you are not moving. Faith sets things in motion. Faith is the energy that makes life flow. But let us be honest, faith is not easy. It is easy to doubt. It is easy to fear. It is easy to find reasons why something will not work. Your mind is designed to look for danger, to avoid pain, to keep you safe. That is why faith is a choice you must make deliberately. It is not something that will appear by accident. You must choose to strengthen it every day. How? By what you feed your mind, by the words you speak, by the people you surround yourself with. If you constantly listen to negative voices, if you constantly repeat words of limitation, if you constantly imagine the worst case scenario, then doubt will dominate your life. But if you choose to focus on possibility, if you repeat words of strength, if you visualize success, if you stay close to those who encourage you, then faith will grow. Faith is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. But the less you use it, the weaker it gets. Every time you take a step, even when you are afraid, you strengthen faith. Every time you speak words of belief, even when circumstances look impossible, you strengthen faith. Every time you refuse to quit, even after a setback, you strengthen faith. And every time you surrender to doubt, every time you give in to fear, every time you choose hesitation over action, you weaken faith. There will never be a perfect moment where all fear disappears. There will never be a perfect plan where every detail is clear. That is why faith is essential. Faith fills the gap between what you can see and what you cannot see. Faith gives you the courage to act when logic says, wait. Faith allows you to take the first step without knowing what the 10th step will look like. And that is the only way progress happens. No one can see the entire path from the beginning. But those who walk in faith create the path as they go. Sometimes people say, I will believe it when I see it. But life works the other way. You will see it when you believe it. Because belief influences action, and action creates results. If you wait to feel certain before you move, you will wait forever. You must move first, and certainty will grow as you go. Faith says, I will act even though I cannot see the finish line yet. Doubt says, I will wait until everything is clear. And by the time everything is clear, the opportunity is gone. Every time you choose faith over doubt, you step into a different life. You change your energy, and when your energy changes, your reality changes. People feel it, situations align, doors open, not because of magic, but because you are now acting with confidence instead of hesitation. People are drawn to those who believe in themselves. Opportunities flow to those who move with certainty. Life rewards those who dare to act with faith. So the question is, which voice will you follow? The voice that says, you can't, or the voice that says, you can? The voice that says, it's too hard, or the voice that says, it's possible? Every day, in every decision, you are choosing, and your choices are shaping your destiny. Doubt will always be there. Fear will always whisper. But faith can speak louder if you let it. And when faith speaks louder, your life begins to change in ways you once thought impossible. You do not need to have all the answers to begin. You do not need to feel fearless to act. You just need enough faith to take the next step. And then the next. And then the next. Because faith is not about giant leaps. It is about small steps with big belief. Keep walking. Keep speaking words of strength. Keep holding the vision even when the evidence is not there yet. And one day, you will look back and realize that every great thing in your life happened because you chose faith over doubt. Action aligns with thought. These 4 words may sound simple, but they hold the power to transform everything about your life. The truth is, every thought you allow to stay in your mind for long enough will eventually seek expression through your actions. And your actions are what build your destiny. Thoughts by themselves are powerful, but thoughts without action are like seeds that are never planted. They carry potential, but they will never grow. If you want to create a life that is different from what you have today, you must understand that it is not enough to think, not enough to hope, not enough to dream. You must act, and your actions must align with the thoughts you choose to believe in. When I say action aligns with thought, it means there is harmony between what you think and what you do. Most people never experience this harmony because they live in contradiction. They dream of success but act out of fear. They speak about abundance but behave as if scarcity rules their life. They tell themselves they want change, but they repeat the same habits every day. This lack of alignment is the reason why so many lives stay stuck. If your thoughts and actions move in opposite directions, you cannot make progress. Imagine pulling a rope from both ends. You create tension, but you go nowhere. That is what happens when your thoughts say one thing and your actions do another. Think about how powerful it is when alignment happens. When your thoughts are clear and your actions follow those thoughts without hesitation, you become unstoppable. There is no inner conflict draining your energy. There is no doubt slowing you down. You are moving forward with focus and power. This is why clarity of thought matters so much, because unclear thoughts create unclear actions, and unclear actions create weak results. But when you know what you want, when your intention is strong, and when your actions reflect that intention, you step into a different life.